Yo, hey guys, it's Bleaks here. So GGG just announced the Synthesis League trailer. It's coming in 16 days, 19 hours at this point. So we're gonna assume you've already watched the trailer. Maybe we'll watch it at the end just to give our reaction to it. I'm gonna pick it apart, see if we can see anything that they didn't talk about down here. So essentially there's this guy and forgotten things, and you have to help him go through his memories. We'll look at some of the screenshots here. So as you can see, you enter in like this room. You need to repair the memory stabilizers. This guy's using the new Storm Burst skill. Anyway, so you're just gonna have to basically go quick. It's kind of a mix between Delve and Version from what I've seen. Just more screenshots. Anything stands out? You gotta repair, and you gotta. Alright, so they both say repair. You gotta bridge the void. This is the part where you actually create what I call the incursion aspect of this, as mods from like Delve and what. So if you look, here's like what I would call the incursion side of it. So you start and you have these basically pieces. You can create your own little maze or map or Delve layout, however you want to do it. The more pieces you add, the more mods go to the global, and the whole thing's gonna have it so you can make it like really difficult and really long if you want. They all have like a number. These have 1s, these have 4s, which means you can visit it once or you can run it once and then it disappears. So there will be times where you're like tracking through and pieces behind you disappear. When you go back or remake it, you'll have to add more pieces to it. Not really sure how it's going to work with how many times you can re-enter it. Like this one has 4. I would assume that you'd run it kind of like Delve and do one long continuous route, but these ones without charges, they would all disappear and you have charges when left and you'd rebuild, I think is how it would work. I think Ziggy has a video. I'd recommend watching that just in case there's some more information out there. Also, a lot of the skill changes are happening. So as you can see here, we have Essence Drain, kind of AoE setup, but it's only connected to one skill gem. Normally it sends 1 projectile, but he has 1, 2, 8? 8, right? Or 9? There's actually 9. So something that gives you either 8 extra projectiles, makes you go in AoE, or maybe they have some extra projectiles with their gear. It's not Flask, not like Dying Sun, it's not GMP, it's not LMP. It looks like a witch character as well, so it's not like Deadeye extra projectiles. So we can assume this is just some skill gem that makes it to where you shoot in a cone and it gives you extra projectiles. Really cool. There's a lot of stuff that can really benefit from this. I'm not sure how good it is on actual Essence Drain because it seems a little wonky, but it's basically Ring of Blades for every spell in the game, which is very nice. We have some like teasers of bosses. This is like a Flame Boy. I guess you're just going to encounter him somewhere in one of these voids areas. Kind of hard to say at this point, but you can assume there's going to be new bosses and what just throughout the void. Last we have next we have fractured items. These are modifiers that don't change no matter what you do to the item. So these are all rares that are shown here. You have this text that's in like a gold color. It just can't be altered. So you can chaos spam this, you can use fossils, you can essences. Really, it's gonna open up self-crafting really well if you can get some good rolls. Like these are obviously really good. Like that's Flat Fizz, one of the most desired mods if you're crafting like a physical bow. Same with this one, another Fizz roll. Have the hybrid energy shield roll, another hybrid energy shield roll. Just gonna be able to do a lot of things with these by just if you can get lucky and find one that has a tier 1 stat item, and they showed some in the video that has 2 stats. Get like a tier 1 of those, I'm sure it'll sell for a ton, or you'll be able to easily craft basically whatever you want. If you get like a Uber circlet like this, you can maybe essence, either essence spam for intellect or fossil spam for just more energy shield and block some more mods. Oh yeah, more items. There's also a synthesizer, so if you have any of these items that are terrible, you can combine them in the synthesizer, which gives you new implicits. So is this one, you have a sapphire ring that has flammability on hit instead of the plus 20 to 30 cold res. So very interesting. You can give up implicits on your items and get really powerful modifiers. But the only downside is you're gonna have to either buy this or buy it already crafted. But just the power, these items seem so high. Like this helmet has 2 implicits. One is just max mana, so it's not really a big deal, but it also has maximum fire resistance. This might be best in slot for like a Righteous Fire build or any build really. It depends on the roles and which items have what stats. So if you look at these boots here, it just has Onslaught. And so if you can get boots out of Onslaught or Phasing or Fortify or whatever they come out with, that's just going to be amazing, because this isn't even Onslaught on kill. This is just you have Onslaught. The end. Always have Onslaught. So pretty amazing there. And then they also made it where it doesn't overwrite the lab enchants. You can have a lab enchant and an implicit now, which is basically an extra modifier on your helm, your boots, and your gloves that you normally wouldn't have. Also, you can have an item like this that has an implicit, and I think that means, I'm not sure how it would work with the 2 implicits, if you could corrupt it and get 1 new implicit, so you could keep the fire res, but maybe get another implicit. That's going to be something that's going to be really interesting when they actually come out with the system. And they're going to rebalance some skills. Lots of skills are going to be changed. They've already gone through some of these on the forums. New support gem, Unleash. So this one, it looks like well, based on what it says, you just basically channel for a while and then it unleashes a bunch at once. So here you have 4 ball lightnings at the same time. Instead of like spell echo, that would do 1 then 2. This does 1, 2, 3, 4 instantly. I'm assuming he's charging back up and he's about to send another 4 with a little gap. So depending how slow these projectiles are, but it could essentially be double the damage depending on, how he has this set up. Next we have spell focus. This one's a kind of interesting one to me, because if you have like an AoE skill like, what is this, Stormbrand? No, that's not Stormbrand. Storm Call, I believe. Anyway, it has a big radius and you cast it for AoE. Basically one-shots all white monsters and stuff like that. And you could continue casting it and it would get smaller AoE, but it does more damage with the multiplier. So you could actually use these skills that have historically only been used for AoE clear as like a single target clear as well. That'd be really nice. New caster archetypes, they're going to be doing Holy and Chaos. So there's some more skills. Purifying Flame. Like it's just a ranged consecrated ground, consecrated path. So it could be really interesting depending on what kind of damage this actually does. Next we have this Wave of Conviction. I think this one's going to be more used as like a support setup. Like you use this for casting damage taken, or maybe you would cast this and have it linked to like a knockback gem or something, and it would knock back things. You would arc them from afar or something. Really depends what kind of enemy resistances this penetrates. Yo, what's up, dude? What's up, Chain? How's it going? We're just going through some of these new synthesis stuff. What are you up to? Also got this skill, Divine Ire. This one seems really clunky to me, but it could still be good. You channel things around you and does damage as if it's like lightning tendrils, or what else is it kind of like? I guess lightning tendrils is like the biggest one. Maybe like Blade Flurry, where you would cast it and you like do things around your character and you release it and it pops something for a lot of damage. I'm not really sure. The dealing lightning and physical damage is nice because you can scale phys damage in addition to lightning damage. You can get shock pretty much for free. It could be good. I don't know. Bane. I'm really curious of Bane because it says Bane applies all linked curses and damage over time effects to enemies in an area. Oh, and a damage over time effect to enemies in an area with benefits for each curse applied. So this is going to be like a more multiplier for each curse that's attached to Bane. So you can have like a 6-link setup, like a cultist, and you'd have Bane, and then you just have 5 curses linked to Bane. So it makes curses more multipliers for your damage over time, which is kind of crazy, depending on how many. Well, it depends what the numbers are, and it depends how many, like how much the multiplier is, and how many curses you can realistically get in your build. Because if you're like a cultist, you're going to have 1 base. You're going to pick up 1 for the Ascendancy. You're going to pick up 1 for the top of the Witch area. Got Soul Rend. So I think this was in Ziggy's video, but you release a projectile that weaves towards enemies and applies a deadly but short-lived damage over time effect around the projectile with additional small projectiles and increased duration. The skill can wipe out large groups of enemies. I don't know. I kind of ignore skills that are only for AoE clear. It could be a good like setup, but I think as a caster, you want to be able to use Shield Charge or Whirling Blades. So I don't really see a world that you can use 2 6-links, 1 for single target and 1 for AoE clear. But maybe with some of the builder bases and shaper items, you could do 6-link gloves or 6-link helm, and then use a 6-link chest as like a single target. Next, what else? We got some new auras that they don't talk anything about, but there's gonna be new auras just for spellcasters. No idea what they would be. I have to assume one's about chaos damage and one's about holy damage, adding them to your spells in some way, and you get some kind of benefit. I mean, we can see what looks like storm brands from the, I guess it's, actually I don't know which one's which. I guess Zillatry would be the golden one, and that one's the purple one. Yeah, that would make the most sense. I can't really tell what's happening here, if it's applying like a contagion type effect. I assume it's going to be a dot. One's a dot and one looks like a storm brand. Powerful new items. Yeah, the new items, we have these gloves. So we have damage over time. So this is going to be more for the chaos builds, unless you just don't care about the damage over time. Evasion, energy shields, whatever. Lightning resist is cool. Enemies you kill are shocked. So that one kind of goes with the next line, where shocks you inflict spread to other enemies within a radius of 15. So this glove basically just shocks everything. It's kind of like the Elementalist Ascendancy in a way. You're just going to kill one target and shocks are going to go every target in the radius, which is pretty interesting, at least for like mapping. Bosses, I'm not super interested. There's like some weird stuff you could do maybe with Worm Flask, but it just feels not worth it for a glove slot. But you could easily switch these out depending on what you're doing. So if you're like mapping, you could these gloves. Maybe just don't care about the shock versus the enemy versus the boss, but if you're doing something like Uber Elder, this is going to be like a bad item generally for you. Then we have the Nebulous Void Scepter. Elemental damage, cast speed, and increased cold damage and lightning damage for the respective resistances above 75. So I'm not sure what to think about this item. I kind of think it's a noob trap in a way. And I feel like I'm being kind of negative on some of the items. Leveling? I mean, they require level 58, so I guess it could be leveling in a way. Like once you get the Blood Aqueducts, you put these on, you use them till 80 or something. Get your build complete. Scepter, oh yeah, required level 68. So this is like an in-game scepter. I'm trying to think of how you'd use this. So you need a skill that either does, there's a couple ways you could set this up. You either have a cold skill, a lightning skill, or you use like a lightning or cold skill and swap the second half to cold or lightning. You'd use like Call of the Brotherhood and like Stormbrand, and half would go to cold, half would go to lightning. But it also, one thing you have to think about is how you're going to use this item. So it only counts your max res. So 75, you don't get anything. And how are you going to get resistances? So you can wear 2 of these and get double the benefit, and wear like a lore weave, and you get 5% increase of cold and lightning resist for each weapon. So you'd get, I'm going to assume the max roll is the 20%, so you get a extra 10% which would be 200% increased lightning damage and 200% increased cold damage. Could be interesting if you're dual wielding and using like a lore weave. That seems like the easiest way to get free damage. You could do like not lore weave and run Saffol's Frame, get +4 on the shield, and like a purity to get 4 to 5 max res that way, so you'd have +9. So you wouldn't be dual wielding, and you would almost have the same damage as if you were dual wielding, just because you wouldn't have to run a lore weave. And unfortunately, you can't run lore weave and a purity, so you can't really get a lot of free resistances that way. Not really sure how else you can get good amount of max resistances from this. Even if you're Guardian, you're going to get like, I think you get 6 max res, because you get over 50% aura effectiveness. Actually, I think you can get higher. You can get like 60. You get higher? Maybe you can get 80 +8 max resistances that way. See, with the scepter, the devil's in the details. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of damage, but it might be like a stepping stone item until you can craft like a really good item, because some people have crazy items. Like if you essence craft a scepter that has +90 minion damage, and you have the minion node where the damage is applied to you, CI, and you get the, what, 50% damage if you're on full life, or like 70 spell damage, you're going to be hitting these numbers pretty easily. So I don't know about this item. I think it might be either a noob trap, or it's just a unique way to play the game. Maybe they'll add in some other ways to get max resistances. Maybe this helmet can also have cold resist instead of maximum fire resist, and you'd be able to get maybe, let's see, 75 is easily achievable. You get that from base, and you can easily get 4 from the shield. You'd be able to get 1 from the helmet. You can get 4 to 5 from an aura, so you're kind of capping out at around 85. Maybe you could get 86 if you get the 1 cold res from the tree, or the 1 lightning res in the tree. But I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's quite there. Talk about this flask, Bottled Faith. So Sulfur Flask, nice base. I use it on a couple builds just for the increased damage. Any build that's a little lacking would use a flask, the Sulfur Flask. Creates Consecrated Ground on use. Nice, especially with the reworked. It gives you critical strike as well. Critical strike chance. This one has triple radius. I don't think that's a big deal. It's kind of small to begin with, but it's better than nothing. You get an additional 2 critical strike for enemies on Consecrated Ground against the +2 to critical strike chance against enemies on Consecrated Ground. So it gives you a larger ground, and you get the 2% for being in the ground with the new ground rework. We also get another 2% if the enemies are within the ground. It might be hard to do, but you could like maybe shotgun some bosses. Maybe not shotgun, but you would have this extra effect against bosses. You have enemies on Consecrated Ground. You create your effect, take 10% increased damage, which is nice. You get increased damage on the enemy as a more multiplier, so you have 40% increased damage on yourself, and you have a 10% more damage against the enemy. So could be useful. It may just be like one of those that you just equip while leveling, because it actually requires level 35. Or if you're playing a build that has all of the suffix it needs for your flask, you can just slap this in there and get some free damage. Path. I'm not sure what the King's Path is. That was a prophecy? Path prophecy. This was probably Googled like 100 times today, or 1,000 times. Okay, it's the one that upgrades Comb Sign. Alright, so Comb Sign is going to be a little easier to upgrade into Combs Away with these divination cards. These will be 1/7 of the price, so it's not bad. A targeted way to farm the region endurance charge rings. We have a unique item, 2 Implicit Corrupted. I really like this. This is like a really cool divination card. I think this one would be really fun to find. Hopefully it's not too hard to find, because you're probably just going to get bad stuff most of the time. You have to roll a good unique for 1, then you have to roll good implicits for 2, and you still have to like fix the item. So if you get like a chest that's double corrupted and it's not 6-socketed, not 6-linked, not colored correctly, you're still going to have to dump a ton of currency into this. So I think it'd be cool if this wasn't super rare, maybe like in middle of the road. It'd make it really interesting, but it might just be super rare in like some really terrible spot, like only drops in incursions or something, and be kind of lame. In 3x Orb of Annulment, that's fine. Like, just puts more Orb of Annulments into the target. Much more supporter packs. So that's pretty much it with the overview. I'll watch the trailer real quick, and we'll watch it like once at normal speed, and then we'll watch it slow speed, see if we can see any like new stuff.
To be forgotten, a fate worse than death. It is as though my very thoughts are breaking.
Looks like new water animation, maybe.
Into tiny splinters. There are
What's them bows? I missed that part? Alright, I'll go back to it.
Important secrets.
That's consecrated ground.
Memories. Preserve them. But move swiftly, lest you be forgotten.
Sometimes you're repairing 2, sometimes you're repairing 3. One showed 4.
In this realm, ideas may be manifested into reality.
Music's epic.
Build paths to secrets long forgotten.
Oh, that one looks like a scarab one. That's kind of cool.
Treasures you could only dream of, synthesized into your very hands. A chance to create something truly unforgettable.
Seems pretty cool. It seems like a mix of Delve and Incursion, if I had to guess. That was one of the new skills. Fireball. Are they insinuating that you can use Fireball again as like a skill without being involved Fireball? I don't know about that.
In Path of Exile Synthesis, you will meet Cavus and help him recover his lost memories.
Cavus.
Enter Cavus's memories and stabilize them by fighting your way to memory stabilizers before they decay. Connect these memories together in the Memory Nexus to reach distant memories containing dangerous bosses and valuable rewards.
Oh yeah, the person needed to use the potion. They were just like... Oh, it was bad. I assume these people are like low level because they're using low level flask, but they're also in like a 5 link, so you're either purposely trying to crush the content to make it look better, or they're really low level. They disabled like the numbers.
After a few runs, so plan your path carefully. Decaying memories yield fractured items with broken mods that are locked in place.
Oh yeah, that's the fractured items stuff. So there's mods that don't change.
Consume these fractured items to synthesize
If you have
base types
terrible fractured items, you can synthesize them. Get some sweet implicits.
Synthesis also contains a complete balance overhaul of all spells in Path of Exile, 6 new Chaos and Holy spells, and significant incentives for handcasting, including several new support gems.
Those projectiles look like they went super slow on those fireballs.
Check out pathofexile.com/synthesis to learn more.
Alright, let's go back to the overview. Yeah, let me turn some music. Alright, so what do we want to know? What do we want to talk about, guys? The items again? So fractured items. You can essentially what you're going to do, how this is going to work in the real game. You're going to farm these items and you're going to get 99% of them are going to be terrible. You're going to have some terrible stat that's like +3 to thorns, 1 or 2 life regen, and it's going to be static. You're not going to be able to change it. and you're just going to synthesize these. And you synthesize them, and you can get hopefully some sweet implicits. The ones that are good are going to be worth a lot, right? If you get a hubris circlet that is eye level 84, 86, that has T1 hybrid, T1 flat, T1%, it's going to be so easy to craft on it, even T1 like intelligence. Because you can still essence spam these, you can still chaos spam these, you can use fossils. Yeah, all your crafting, as long as you can craft on a rare, it should work, right? So you can have T1 hybrid energy shield already on there, and then you basically get like a free exalt every time you try to craft, because it's just locked in. And one of these, the one in the video had 2, so if you get 2 amazing stats, like you can get T1 hybrid, T1 flat, and all you have to do is keep chaos spamming this item until you get T1 percentage, and you're gonna have the max energy shield base like out of the gate, like not even a big deal. And to get even higher energy shield, you would just use dense fossils and get the more increased energy shield. So these are pretty bonkers. If you get something good, it's gonna sell for a lot, or you're gonna have to buy it for a lot. That's how it's looking to me, but everyone's gonna be mandatory. I foresee exalts going through the roof. In a way, you need less exalts. So actually chaos should increase in price, or at least the ratio of chaos to exalts should be lower on the chaos side. Because if I have less need for exalts, and if this always has T1 hybrid, then I would just use, chaos and spam it until I get something great. I wouldn't really need to use exalts. But your ratio of exalts might be, 100C equals 1x instead of 200 equals an x. I don't know. I don't know how the numbers would be, but the chaos would be worth more than they are now. I think Ziggy had a good video. Watch that as well. Yeah.
To be forgotten. A fate
Oh, I'll turn the music off again.
G'day, Ziggy D here, and today, let's take a look at Path of
Got,
Exile's
like-
upcoming 3.6 expansion, Synthesis. I'll also discuss
So,
some of the new skills
Ziggy's kinda
and
like
along way
the-
that balance changes for handcasting
I don't know if he's
spells
official or
and, of
unofficial,
course,
but he's like the
more
ambassador
importantly,
for UE content, pretty much. Like, they'll give him the inside scoop. That's why he was able to make this video like today.
Synthesis, the combination of components to create something new. This new expansion's name applies to its story, its gameplay, and its rewards.
Quality low?
Kvass is a spirit who has lost most of the memories of his former life.
So, let's upgrade
But
that
he
quality.
was clearly someone of great importance to Rayclast history. By recovering Kvass'
People are saying the guy
memories
is
and
Shaper
piecing them
with
together,
Alzheimer's.
we'll be able to uncover the story of who he once was. We'll begin this journey
But he's probably
by
just like a
stabilizing
random
memories we
master they're
locate
adding
while
in.
exploring through the story and endgame. These shorter encounters have us enter a memory zone filled with monsters, including new synthesis enemies. The edges of these memories are rapidly crumbling away, and to stray into these voids of unremembrance is to be quickly forgotten yourself. In
Why would
order
it go
to
back down?
stabilize and secure the memory, we must battle
alright.
our way towards multiple stabilization points. Once we've stabilized the memory, we'll obtain these memory fragments.
Said if you go in the
ready to
blue,
use.
you die?
Loot from the memory fragment zones will drop at the end.
Take some
so you
amount
don't
of
need to stress
damage.
about picking up items while the memory
Yeah, you get the items
fragments
at the
around
end, so it's
you.
kind of like incursion.
After
kinda
helping
nice.
Kvass recover some of his memories, he'll take us to the Memory Nexus, an area floating within the voids of his mind. From here, we'll be able to use
Look at like the global mods they have here. A chance for synthesized rare packs to have a rare monster. Alright, sure. Areas contain 40 additional bloodworm chest clusters. Don't know what that means, but just chests that blow up and gives you loot. Synthesized magic monsters have 20% chance to drop a currency shard. Okay. I mean, if you get 3 chances to get, exalt shards, mirror shards, normally wouldn't have. I mean, that's pretty amazing. You're probably never going to get one, but it's at least there. Someone will get one, right? It may be you, it may be me, maybe one person, I don't know. Synthesized magic monsters have a 60% increased chance to drop a map. So free maps. Last league was really easy to sustain maps, or this current league, 3.5 Betrayal. I'm going to assume this is going to keep it even easier to sustain maps. So it's kind of nice. 20% chance for synthesized packs to be upgraded to magic. Okay, so random 20% of like white monsters are going to be turned to magic monsters. Free 20%, you know, more magic monsters. 20% chance for synthesized packs to be upgraded to rare, so 20% more rare monster packs. Pretty cool. That's global. I think each of these nodes also have their own modifiers. I've never had a Chaos or Exalt shard. They only drop in certain places in the game. I think this will help get you some more. So what did you just do there? He hovered over this one and it adds an additional global mod. So you get, since monsters have 20% increased chance to drop a unique item. So all right, free uniques. In the actual zone, it looks like a map. Pack size, item quantity, item rarity. You get more magic monsters, more damage, damage as fire, chain, bloodlines, and monsters drop items one level higher. So this is a area that's level 70. So this is kind of the low end. Sure, they'll be higher. As you can see, this one has a symbol over it. It's like a scarab. I'm sure you get like at least one free scarab drop in there.
To create connections to the drifting memories within this void.
See what other kind
Some
of
these may contain
icons we can see.
Or even battles with forgotten bosses. Interviewing
Wait, how many bosses was that? Is that 2 bosses or 3?
Nexus, an area floating within the voids of his mind.
Kind of zoned out.
We'll be able to use the memories we have secured to create connections to the drifting memories within this void. Some of these may
That looks like a boss. Maybe cold damage?
Extra rewards or even battles
Fire?
with forgotten bosses. Interviewing Chris Wilson,
that looked like maybe 3 or 4.
At Grinding Gear Games, he said that inspiration came from both Delve League's exploration map, but also from board games, which can be seen.
Oh, there's a prophecy one. Prophecy one right there. I think that's just an ice tile. For a second, it looks like the sulfite icon. I'm not sure what this icon is. Maybe gyms? Maybe a new icon?
Maps rather adorable aesthetics. When designing Synthesis, Chris and Jonathan sat around a table fiddling with pieces from the board game Carcassonne, seeing how they fit together to create different paths. I wanted to
That
share
fire
this
one
little
kind of
bit
looked
backstory
like
because I found it
Mephisto
really
from
cool
Diablo
support.
2.
Mechanically speaking,
I didn't play
within
much
the
Diablo
memory
2.
map, we'll try to use the
I don't
memory
remember like
fragments
anything.
we've collected, like board game pieces, to
What are these? Let's go back. See if when he hovers over it, you can tell.
cozy thought. Mechanically speaking, within the memory map, we'll
Alright, so he hovered over it. Contains Parandus item chest. Okay, so that might be the Parandus icon. Okay. So maybe every league has its own icon. Like this could be Nemesis, that could be Parandus. Maybe they have scarabs for betrayal.
we'll try to use the memory fragments we have collected, like board
Prophecy
game
for
pieces,
prophecy.
to create roads to the different
That one interesting? Just go slower.
pieces.
The turbo, frenzy charge on hit, and chance to do elements on hit. So these are kind of boring. They're just going to be like maps, but these global mods are going to be where it's at.
To create roads to the different floating reward memories scattered around the Nexus.
Those global mods are kind of
These
like
reward and
Delve.
boss battle memories will appear over time.
Are these different? Yeah, these are different. Okay. So Bloodworm chest, we saw that one. Synthesized magic monsters have a 20% chance to drop a currency shard. Oh, we saw that one. Map. Synthesized rare monsters drop an additional quality currency item. So chisels, blacksmith whetstones, armor scraps. 500% chance, 500% increased quantity of items dropped by synthesized rare monsters. I don't know if all the rares in here are going to be synthesized, or it's going to be like a mix. I imagine it's going to be a mix. 100% chance for synthesized packs to be upgraded to rares. Okay.
And will decay as soon as they are run, such is the fickle nature of the mind. It's pretty clear visually, but you can only connect multiple memories if they have parts.
Got some more stuff. Currency item. 6% increased experience. Rarity items dropped by synthesized members. 25% chance to drop divination card. 20% chance to drop an elder item. 25% chance to drop a jewel. Okay.
paths that would connect to
So
each other.
it looks like you can almost get everything in the game to drop out of this mechanic, which is going to
So
be
you'll need to collect the
super
right
nice.
memories and place them to make a
Because
path.
it would be kind of like Delve, where you can just stay in Delve and get everything you want.
To collect the right memories and place them to make.
I want to see fast. Gopo. A little bit.
And place them.
Anything interesting? Chaos resist, Ellie resist, quantity, rarity, pack size. Okay. Normal stuff.
Path. Each of these memory fragments that you place creates an area, and these areas connect together
I assume most of these are just normal damage stuff. Yeah.
to form a zone that you can run through, utilizing the developments made in the design
You can see those rare monsters have an additional 25% chance to drop a breach splinter.
of Delve. You can
So,
even
you
run a
get
path spanning
divination
multiple
cards,
memories
elder
without
items,
voice screens
tools,
between them. Unless the
splinters,
path, of course,
prophecy
becomes too
stuff,
long,
scarabs.
in
It looks
which
like you
case
can
may
get
have a load on one of the
pretty much
bridges.
everything from doing this.
While the reward memories are the main goal that you are trying to work towards, the paths
You also get the
themselves
new
can be quite
fractured
rewarding
items.
as well. Each memory fragment has its own map style modifiers that increase the challenges and rewards of the zone.
Oh, that says veiled items. Alright, 5% chance to drop a fossil. Okay. I mean, some fossils are like an exalt. That could be amazing. Currency card. Quality currency item, we talked about that. Divination card, veiled items. Okay, so you can get some free crafting bench recipes without having to do the syndicate.
The real kicker here is that zones will combine the bonuses of their mods together into a global bonus across all memories. So the more you place and the longer the paths you create,
Oh, I saw something about
the
Abyss
more
right there.
rewarding and challenging your
So
memory
chest
nexus
cluster.
runs will be. Chris Wilson said that it'll be exciting to see the long memory chains some players will create to challenge themselves. To spice things up further, there are also memory amplifier nodes, which can do a variety of
That means they
things,
kept the
including
syndicate
doubling the
crap?
effect
Yeah,
of the
they definitely
mods
did.
of any memories placed.
I mean, in the fragment tab, they had
Memories have a set
scarabs
number
already
of
there,
runs before they decay,
and they
as
kind of set it
indicated
up
by
to
the
where they
number below
did
the piece.
4
So the hunt
different
for new memories in the regular
leagues
game
that
will
were the new
continue as you
masters,
try to
and then they
forge
added
new
the syndicate
paths
to kind of
create
tie them all
reward
together.
memories. In addition to the regular loot and specific bounties from reward memories, Synthesis brings
But
two
they're gonna
new
change
item
some
types for
things
players
about
to
it.
hunt and craft with.
Some more quality
The
of
first
life.
is the erratic fractured items. These are rare.
Yeah, so this item right here, this item's insane. Is 100 life T1? I think it's T1. And that's either T1 or 2 fire resist. So you already have an item that is 2 T1s that can never be changed. All you got to do is get these other four mods T1, or maybe you only want like 2 more. You can get, the 2 that are stuck, you can get 2 more, and you can craft the 5th one and be done, Or you can keep trying to change it. You can use the nulls, and it's only going to get rid of these down here. It's never going to adjust these. You can use fossils to target it. That's just insane.
That Kvass only partially remembers.
So self-crafting is going to be like a real thing.
Synthesis monsters you will face. They are effectively broken.
Yeah, he's just chaos spamming. Armor, percent armor, and life roll.
As some of the modifiers
Like, ridiculous, right? He's just chaos spamming this stuff.
on them are locked and cannot be changed. A lot of the time, this will result in an item that isn't very useful, with bad or weak modifiers locked into place. Though there will be another use for these weaker fractured items that I'll discuss shortly. Occasionally, however, a fractured item may drop with locked modifiers that are actually really good. In this case, you have an extremely valuable piece that you can craft into something amazing. Think of a good weapon with a high physical damage roll locked into place. You can alchemy, chaos, and even use fossils or essences, and these fractured mods will remain in place.
Wait, you can alchemy it? So that means you can scour alch, or... Huh. I didn't think you'd be able to scour the item. That's pretty interesting. You can scour, then you can do every type of crafting.
I really love how this will combine with the...
Like, would you be able to... You can have 2 mods that are stuck there on a white item, you could scour it, and you could transmute it to blue? I don't know if you'd be able to transmute it to blue, because blues cap out at 2. That'd be interesting. But I was thinking you could transmute, then alt spam, then regal.
Existing layers of crafting options in the game.
But yeah,
which has just
spam
been
seems
getting more and more interesting and deep
really
over
easy.
time. So what about those junky, broken, and useless
Assuming
fractured
one
items
has
to
the
find?
proper recipes.
Enter synthesis. Taking 3 fractured items
do you mean, the
and
proper recipes?
synthesizing them will allow you to create a brand new item. These synthesized items have powerful new implicit modifiers, even on items that do not currently have implicit modifiers.
So life, cold rest, alright.
Implicits, for those unfamiliar, are modifiers built into an item that remain in place when you craft them into rares. Think of the cold resistance implicitly built into a sapphire ring. These new synthesis implicits will
think in
allow you
the-
to create items
The
more
other video, the
powerful
GGG
or
video,
more build
it
defining
had one
than
that
the last.
was
It could be
you get an
extra
endurance
life and resistance
charge
built into a
when
chest armor,
if you've been hit
elemental
recently
conversion on
every
gloves,
second,
or even a new way of
and an
generating
endurance charge every
charges.
second if you've been hit recently.
The
So
synthesis
basically like
process itself
the
is
Juggernaut
rather a
Ascendancy
mystery,
on
one
an
that Chris
item.
Wilson says GGG is keen to see players discover for themselves during the league. What I know is that the combination of the 3 fractured items will affect the outcome in multiple ways, and that it seems even the extra crafted modifiers
So assuming you need 3 of the same type,
on fractured items
and depending on what the
will play
implicit
a role.
is, depends what you
As
get.
an extra note, there is plans to make Labyrinth enchantments a separate modifier slot, so they won't occupy the implicit slot. This means we'll be able to have both an implicit and an enchantment on a helmet, for example.
3 free
So to recap,
modifiers to your
simple.
gear.
Synthesis as a league will see us recover memory fragments in the short side areas during the regular Path of Exile game. Then we'll take these fragments to the memory map and build roads with them to create
Is that a
longer runs
change
to
to
specific rewards. During all of
Incinerate?
this, we'll obtain a mixture of
Or is that how the new
regular
one is?
rewards, like loot and currency, as well as fractured items, which can be crafted if good, or synthesized into new items if bad. And throughout all of this, we'll progress the storyline of Kavas, the Hollow One, as he recovers his memories.
Yeah, you'll eventually get all the crafting recipes.
Changing gears a little. A hot topic,
Especially,
in
like, the
realm
common
of
ones,
Path of
if you just
Exile
need to,
balance has
like,
been
slam
self-casting
a,
spells, or as
resist
GGG
on
is
it or
referring
something.
to it now, hand casting. Over time, the iconic image of a mage slinging a spell
that's the new
created from
Incinerate,
their
isn't it?
hands has been lost somewhat in the face of more and more improvements to alternative methods of casting spells to destroy enemies. Chris Wilson identifies 2 main issues that they are addressing in the Synthesis expansion. The first is that, to put it bluntly, many spells are too weak for players to want to use, while several stand out as primary
I
choices.
don't know what this guy's gear is.
GGG's goal here is ambitious.
Looks like he's doing a lot of
They play-
damage, but he's like low life. He has 10 power charges. I imagine dual void battery, which he's using flame dash to get around, so he doesn't have a shield. I assume it's
and to effect
Void
a
battery,
game-wide
10 power
rebalance of
charges.
spells to get them approximately similar in power levels as each other, whilst taking into account the differences in things like damage timing and areas of effect that make spells different from each other. The second point is that players have lately been using every means possible to avoid casting spells themselves.
of course.
Traps, mines, totems, and even triggered effects. Chris Wilson says that the goal is not to punish these methods, but rather to make hand-casting spells more tempting, so that players will consider the extra risks of slinging spells themselves
Doing a lot of
as
Incinerate.
potentially worthwhile. In addition to balance changes, there will be 2 new support gems targeted exclusively at hand-casting spells. These will be revealed at a later time, but GGG is calling them quote-unquote crazy. So with the
Crazy.
emphasis this expansion being on spellcasting, 6 new primary damage-dealing spells are being introduced across 2 archetypes, Chaos and Holy. In talking with Chris, Chaos spells were previously aimed at being rather rare and niche. However, their popularity within the player base has grown quite a lot, and GGG is interested in expanding the archetype of the Chaos spellcaster out further. The first skill reveal then is Soul Rend.
Thorin looks good
This
on
skill
a
fires
EMP.
a slow-moving projectile that causes chaos damage over time to enemies near it. It has a slight built-in homing effect that'll cause it to swing closer to nearby enemies, which gives it a chaotic, writhing look as it flies across the
Chaos spells are
battlefield.
just nice because you don't take reflect
Soul Rend
damage.
can
You
be
don't have to
slowed
worry.
down
You
to
don't
increase
have to go
its
elementalist.
damage, or given multiple projectiles to increase its pack clearing potential. It's pitched at being a solid
This
introductory
is a
skill to the
trickster because he's
Chaos
getting
archetype with a
power charges and
simpler
frenzy
more
charges
relaxed
on kill.
playstyle than other Chaos skills.
And he's going life
The second
ES and
archetype is a
mana.
Holy Spellcaster, a new niche within Path of Exile.
That
It's
looks so
characterized by
clunky.
spells that deal physical damage converted in full or in part to fire or lightning damage.
Stand there and you
Because of
arc.
the nature of physical conversion,
Then you
these
do a
spells will be able to leverage
blast.
things that scale off of physical damage.
Wait, can you turn the
such as added
camera
fire damage
while you're
support in
channeling?
Hatred aura.
It looks like you
First skill
can.
reveal then is for
Because if the
Divine
monster
Ire.
moves, then you're kind of screwed. Yeah, okay, so you can move while
Divine Ire is a
channeling.
channeling skill that deals damage to nearby
Making
enemies
sure.
with tendrils of lightning while it's charging. When released, it deals a large blast of damage in the direction faced.
I
Divine
know,
Ire charges
It looks
off of
cool.
enemies while dealing damage to
but
them.
I feel like this
And the more
one,
it's
this one's
charged
bad.
up, the more damage it'll deal with its final blast. This is a more
Unless you can
advanced
play
skill,
this
as
like
correct
really
positioning
well
and familiarity
without
with its
using
damage
the
pattern will reward
second part
skillful
of it.
players with
You can
more
just
damage
do
and efficiency.
the
You'll
tendrils
want to kill a
part
pack while charging off
and
of them,
only use
and then unleash the
that
blast
for
on the
bosses,
surviving
then it could be
rare monster
good.
quickly and cleanly to optimize its use. Now in Synthesis, we'll also be seeing 16 new uniques added to the game. Grinding Gear Games is changing gears a bit on unique design. In the past, they've filled out the roster with plenty of leveling or, in my own
That's
words,
junk.
somewhat filler uniques.
Yeah, I think it's a bit
With over
junky.
850 uniques in total now, focus is shifting to fewer, more interesting, and more impactful uniques. Chris says that it's important for uniques moving forward to provide more opportunities to open up the metagame, change the gameplay, and provide more playstyles for players to aspire to. The first example from Synthesis of this new design
Alright, new item. We got trigger, level 20 glimpse on eternity when hit. Right? Evasion energy shield, fine, but wait, what is this? This is a chest? Like a chest. Yeah, the eternal shroud. This is a helm. Alright. The helm, 171 energy shield, kind of too low for energy shield. Evasion 1k 1100. It's pretty good. No quality. 79 max life. Maybe it goes higher. Maybe it goes like 85 or something. 21 chaos res. Gain 5% of elemental damage as extra chaos per item equipped. This is a shaper item. Hits ignore enemy monster chaos resist. All equipped items are shaper items. If all equipped items are shaper items. So this needs to be a. Let's see. You're gearing a character. You put only shaper items on. You gain flat chaos per elemental, so you still need elemental damage. And you need to hit with whatever you're doing. So I was thinking about this as like a chaos skill that you get around the chaos resist. But it seems like you have to be an elemental caster that has hits, or elemental melee. You just convert a bunch of damage into chaos. Or you gain additional, right? You can have 10 item slots. Chest, boots, gloves, 2 rings, amulet, belt, weapon, shield. Yeah, you can have 10. You get 50% increased elemental damage as extra chaos damage if all your items are shaper. And if all your items are shaper, then you ignore chaos resist. You get like free true damage. That's kind of nice.
design approach in action is the new shaper
I could see
drop,
people
the
just
Eternity Shroud.
playing around this item. That's kind of
In
cool.
addition
That's a
to
cool
some
item.
Build-around modifiers that heavily
Also
reward
seeing
taking
what
your character out in endgame
The
shaped
trigger
items.
thing does.
This has a new skill tied to it, Glimpse of Eternity. When you are hit, this skill creates a bubble of time dilation at your character's location, slowing the action speed of enemies
Bubble
within
of
it.
time
This will make it much
dilation.
safer to be in melee range with enemies inside of the bubble.
And how hard is it going
Or
to
it
be
may
to get
allow
all
you
shaper
some
items?
safety to
Depends what
retreat if you're
uniques
playing
you
in
can
range.
run, what skill you're using. I mean, you could
As
just buy
Synthesis
rare
also signifies
bases
the end
and
of
craft
Betrayal
on them.
League, what's happening to Betrayal's
So like,
content?
it's not impossible.
Betrayal's expansion was designed to bring together
It's just depending on
Bestiary,
what
Delve,
uniques you want to play around
Incursion,
with.
and Zana,
You
all in the new master
might not be able to
system.
get them
All of these
as shaper
changes
items. You'd
remain
have to
in
do
effect moving forwards,
weird
and
things like get
Betrayal
a
will be
shaper
added
base
into the
and
core
chance
game
into
as part of
the
this master system as
unique
well.
you want to make it a shaper
Jewel Toy
unique,
becomes one
but
of the
that's
masters, and Betrayal encounters have been
unreliable.
rebalanced and added as regular encounters from
Oh wait,
Act
I
9
need to pay
onwards.
attention to this.
Syndicate Encounters expansion was designed with enemies inside of the bubble, or it may allow you some safety to retreat if you are playing at range. As Synthesis also signifies the end of Betrayal League, what's happening to Betrayal's content? Betrayal's expansion was designed to bring together Bestiary, Delve, Incursion,
Nothing
and
actually looks
Zana,
different.
all in the new master system. All of these changes remain in effect moving forwards, and Betrayal will be added into the core game as part of this master system as well. Junod Tui becomes one of the masters, and Betrayal encounters have been rebalanced and added as regular encounters from Act 9 onwards. Syndicate encounters will occur less often, but in a zone with Syndicate activity, you will have multiple Syndicate encounters spread out across the zone.
Okay.
As such, you may find a map with a...
Yeah, so you'll find maps that have some amount of these, I guess up to 4. And then I assume on the atlas, there'll be like an icon to show that Syndicate activity is going on. We also have a random chance per map you put in or per area you enter to encounter the Syndicate. It just won't be 100% of the time.
Fort, a transport, and a
frig.
all in one.
You don't like Syndicate?
Chris noted that care is being taken to ensure that you won't
It's here.
have an intervention
It's gonna be in
while you're fighting
the core
Fort,
game now.
As, well, that'd just be unfair. Chris also
Okay,
mentioned
no
that this
intervention
will not dilute
while
the existing rate of master
the
encounters.
fort.
So in my chat
I'm hyped for the
earlier
new
in game,
skills.
Chris also mentioned that
what skill you're
content
hyped
for
about?
2019 will follow a similar
Any of these new? Bloodworm, rares, currency shards. It's the same footage from earlier. Yeah,
path
alright.
to 2018, with 4 planned expansions on 13-week cycles. And at the end of the year, the schedule will culminate in the first Exile Con.
Scorching
the
Ray
announcement
one.
of the
Oh, that one's my
4.0
least
mega
favorite.
expansion for next
I've been
year.
dogging on it.
I had a lot of fun both playing and making content for the Betrayal League. It's one of my favorites so far. And I'm really excited to explore the opportunities Synthesis is looking to offer. In particular,
I don't know. I hope it's
custom
good,
extreme
but
memory chains
I think
that could be made.
It's only going to be
And
good
how
if
the
you
new
can
craftable items
have
will
clear
slot
with the
into
first part of the
existing
skill,
crafting meta.
and then
I'll be
hopefully
following up with more of my
second part of the
thoughts and
skill
hopefully
is
some
only
extra
needed
pieces
for
of content
bosses.
in the weeks to come. So make sure to
just
subscribe
looks
to the
kinda
channel if
clunky.
you haven't already. That's it for now. I'm Ziggy D. Thanks for
Whoa,
watching.
AMA low. It's for the raid, dude. Pretty of 18. Welcome everyone. Hope you guys had a good stream. We're just going over some synthesis stuff. Start some music up. Yeah, AMA, how you doing, dude? Is this the synthesis waiting room? Yeah, dude. Welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. So, what's the next thing you guys want to talk about? Want to go through the video again? Can't complain at all. Thanks. How's it going here? We're going pretty good. We just watched Ziggy D's video, so shout out to Ziggy D. We just been going through all the unique items, everything we can find, the div cards. It's all looking good so far. I'm pretty excited. Got Shaper with Alzheimer's. Pretty good.